Hi, I'm Lorna Heatley. I am the Assistant Curate at the Benefice of Richmond with Hudswell, Downholme and Marske, which is right at the very north end of the Diocese of Leeds.
My name's Joanne Medhurst and I'm working at the United Benefice of St Mary at Swillington, Kippax and Allerton Bywater.
So my name's Esley and I'm right now in the parish of St Mark's in Harrogate.
My name's Simon Edens. I'm the curate for the Yoredale Benefice, which is in the Ripon area.
So I'm Rebecca Marthin and I'm serving my curacy with the Little Horton parish in inner city Bradford.
I'm Sarah Tapley and I'm self-supporting, which means that part of the time I'm serving as a curate at St Andrew's in Starbeck and part of the time I'm a partner in a law firm in Leeds.
Being with people who I have waited 52 years to be with and being able to talk about Jesus without having to apologise, without having to hide where my heart lies with my love of God and my love of Jesus, and just being able to be open with people and say, actually, he can help you.
The thing I've enjoyed most about being ordained is centred on relationship, spending time in the community, meeting people where they are, being present, listening to the hopes, the fears, the dreams, aspirations. And within that, there's been those beautiful moments when you can either help, open the door, hear how God is working in people's lives, but just hopefully being that kind of caring presence for the community. And what I've received back through goodwill, kindness and hospitality has been amazing.
So I was quite young when I first sensed a call to ordained ministry. I really loved reading in church and sort of being in church and helping out. And a lot of people would come to me and come to my parents and say, oh, she's going to be a priest one day. And then I sort of got a bit older, and when I was younger, in the place I was, being a Christian was, a little bit embarrassing. So I moved away from that, I moved back from that, I moved back from church. I never moved away from church, but I distanced myself. And then in uni, I did a dissertation on the representation of Islam in the media. And through that, I got a job at a Muslim-run TV company. And I met these women there that were so strong and proud of their faith that I said to them, oh, I wish I could be more like you. And they said to me, well, you can be. Why don't you go back to church? So I started going back to church, and I'd come in and we'd talk about things like that. And I felt that calling that I'd started to completely ignore sort of come back a little bit more. And that was really affirmed by everyone that worked in that company.
So I think I've always had a sense, like this little niggle in my gut, but I've just never listened to it. So there's been these periods where I've been studying, whether it's business or working in business, but then in between those periods, I kept getting called back to the church, whether it's helping them with their marketing or helping them with their website. But then I was like, in my mid-20s, and I was like, why is the church calling me? And I spoke to my vicar at the time, and she said, why don't you try out the MES scheme? And so I did for a year, and I just felt my calling just growing and discovering what type of leader I should be.
Wearing a clerical collar at the beginning felt a bit unusual. I wasn't used to it and I wasn't sure what it would mean. And now it feels like a real privilege. I've had conversations with people that I wouldn't have had otherwise. I think people who are open to faith or even going through difficult times or even just curious what it means. It's opened up conversations that it wouldn't have opened up otherwise.
So it's actually quite interesting wearing a clerical collar when I'm out and about. I try and do as much sort of mundane errand work as I can in my clerical collar, a little bit because it means that I don't have to make a decision about what I'm going to wear that morning. If I could just put this on and just a pair of jeans or something. But I found that wearing a clerical collar has such a ministry of presence about it. So the number one thing I do is I walk my dog in my collar. And as a result, that's put me in contact with so many people that I wouldn't normally talk to, because the dog makes me approachable, because the dog will play with another dog and I will get chatting to the owners. And also they'll look at my neck and go, "Oh, I didn't realise you were a priest." They don't know that I'm a deacon. No one understands that. And then we get to talking about that. And it's like the bartenders or the hairdresser's privilege, isn't it? I'm now known as a person that they can talk to.
The reasons why I'd advise anybody to be ordained in the Church of England is, first of all, I've found that the Church cares for those people within inside the church walls and cares for the community. The support I know my colleagues have received going through the discernment process was excellent. A true humanity, and it enabled to have that kind of gentle, prayerful being alongside one another, which brought about that true inner expression of who I am coming out. So it would be very much a caring, listening, giving church, and genuinely wanting to unearth the gifts that is in myself and within others.
I'd encourage somebody to be ordained in the Church of England, because to me the very diversity of the Church of England comes the closest of being reflective of what I think God would want his church on earth to be. And that's not to say that the other denominations are not reflecting God's kingdom. I think they absolutely are. But I think the fact that we in the Church of England can hold the diversity together, only just at times, but we hold it together, and to me is saying something about the fact that none of us can know all about God. Each of us is gaining a glimpse. Each of us is able to bring the kingdom of heaven onto earth, only in a very small way. And I trained at a college called St Hild, which is for anybody who's part-time. So you get a huge mixture of everybody from the most evangelical to the most charismatic to the most Anglo-Catholic, everything in between. And you are encouraged, required to live with that and through that. So you worship in every style. You listen with respect and learn from everybody's point of view, however radical it might appear to you or however different. And that is, to me, the Church of England. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to live in communion, knowing more of a God who is so amazing and so broad and so varied that the only way we can perhaps touch part of him is by embracing that diversity. And I don't know of another church that does that in the way the Church of England does it.